I'm sure people are tired of hearing about opportunity, and that's what this is. This opportunity has been ongoing for quite some time, but you can't help but keep talking about it when you're seeing large players do this. And especially over the last 72 hours, it's been to the tune of 230 million ADA. That's a pretty big number. We're going to talk about what is exactly going on right now, how large entities are looking at ADA, as well as a couple things that have changed on a fundamental level that are historically good for the crypto market, and major projections this year for BTC and how this will relate to ADA price. So if you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that bell again. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So right now it's about 7:10 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's still the morning. We still have not had a jobs report. We have not seen how the U.S. market is going to react to, first of all, the stock market. Stock market is starting out very red in pre-market trading. We'll see what that impact is as the day goes on, and I'll do a later video to update you guys. But what we've been seeing in a big way as of late is the large entities take advantage of discounts. We're talking about institutions, we're talking about enterprise, MicroStrategy, World Liberty Financial have been accumulating assets in a big way, and whales across the crypto market have really heavily been adding to their bags at this time. And in fact, what we've seen over the last 72 hours is major accumulation by ADA whales. In fact, whales holding between 10 million to 100 million ADA have accumulated 230 million ADA over the last 72 hours alone. So yes, whales are buying the dip. Whales are helping with retail, help defend price. But I think it's much bigger than that. They understand the potential and what can come from these ranges. What we have finally reached, guys, is this big box. This is the accumulation zone in terms of ADA. This is where there's a huge opportunity to accumulate and build positions for the future, and you guys can do what you want. This isn't financial advice. But what we saw was price, again, separates so far from demand that we had to wait for the two to meet once again. So demand started to, again, rise because of the developments and the advancements that have taken place, the potential, again, of ADA being a digital reserve asset, which is what that big spike is up there, right? And we've seen price come back down, and now the two have finally met. And this is a comfortable zone for ADA. And that's why it keeps kind of living in here until we have this next big breakout across the crypto market. That's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the loud stuff to, again, quiet down, waiting for excitement to ensue. And that is when ADA can really make this next leg. But what I will say is also very important for the crypto market that we haven't talked about in a bit is what has been happening on the US dollar index. All right. Why this is so important is as the strength of the US dollar falls, what we tend to see is people move towards more speculative assets. Now, obviously that hasn't been the case the last few days. We've seen a lot of red in crypto. We've seen a lot of red in the stock market, but historically speaking, this is where there's a big inflection point. Okay. And what's kind of interesting is, I don't know if anybody's been I'm sure many people have been watching me on the channel from back here, but what we talked about was actually a possible multiple head and shoulders playing out from this formation. We talked about our resistance right up here at about this 109, 110 level. And what's interesting here is, we had our head, we had our left shoulder, right shoulder, left shoulder, right shoulder, left shoulder, right shoulder, and so on and so forth. And we actually talked about the possibility of this being the case and playing out exactly this way. So this is played out exactly how we expected, maybe not because of the news that we expected, but this is good for crypto. DXY falling is very good for speculative assets. Where we are also getting, are going to at least get some help, is 10-year bond yields dropping off very heavily. Also good for speculative assets. People are less likely to hold these longer term bonds because the yield is less. They move towards more speculative assets. This is good for the stocks market. This is good for crypto long term. Understand that. Okay. Big inverse correlation, big inflection point in crypto. And what that means is that with global liquidity on the rise, with us now accelerating towards interest rate decreases, quantitative easing, because again, people are probably going to start hoarding their money more. That is huge for the macro. That is big, long-term, bigger picture. That is why I think it's more important than ever that people have their positions set. It doesn't mean that, today is the day that the switch flips and we're going to boom. But what it does mean is that we've kind of nestled into this area that is very conducive now for major runs in the crypto market. And yes, we're dealing with a lot of the loud noise, and this is what a lot of big people are talking about right now. In fact, Bitwise's head of research says that, right now we are dealing with a lot of this noise, but this will eventually quiet down. Once the market settles from this Liberation Day chaos, we'll finally see a market pull back upwards. And what they're still projecting is major movements in terms of price for Bitcoin. They're talking about potentially $200,000 BTC. Now, my projections for this cycle have still remained very tempered. They've still been basically 125K through 150K. Maybe it's more. Maybe some of these, Bitcoin reserves throughout the world really begin to pump price in a big way. I think that's more of a 2026, 2027 move. But what we're talking about is huge pressure in the crypto market and adoption that comes along with it. And what that would mean for something like ADA that currently has a very nice correlation with BTC, meaning like I talked about earlier, ADA is gaining strength versus Bitcoin. This is where you can start to see ADA make some of those big pops where it goes on accelerated runs to new all-time highs, where the excitement surrounding the Cardano ecosystem brings new adoption to Cardano. There's a lot of, I think what a lot of people forget is there are so many moving pieces going on with Cardano right now that are huge things for the future, that even if just a couple of these hit, we're talking about a very different Cardano than even where we're at now, but a drastically different Cardano than we saw at the height of the last bull market cycle. That's why I don't get these $3 max price projections. Guys, everything is completely different. Cardano is completely different. It's not even close to the same iteration of what it was back then. ADA has a much stronger community than it did at that point. More holders, more conviction, more excitement about the future. These are the things that are helping fuel ADA right now. And as long as those don't die out, which they don't seem to be doing, that is a huge catalyst, a huge ignition for what this next leg and frankly, overall remainder of the market look like for ADA. So that's just what I wanted to share with you guys. These are really big things that are taking place right now. I'm very excited for the future, but understand it's still long-term. We still have to pay attention to the short-term noise. It's still going to be loud, but we will get past that eventually. And then the doors open up for some very exciting things. So I appreciate you guys as always. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.